There comes a time in every man's life where he must boldly go where no man has gone before, to grow as both a man and as a human, to attempt to achieve the impossible. The invention of the wheel, the discovery of gravity, man first landing on the moon. The incredible feats of mankind will pale in comparison to the efforts of today. And it all begins in a small, squalid village somewhere in Spain. Hello friends, my name is Volantis, and today I'm going to try and prove I'm a slightly better gamer than I previously thought. Today I'm attempting to achieve the next milestone of human evolution by heading back into Resident Evil 4 and trying to rack up 1100 kills in a single run. This is a follow-up to my 1000 kills challenge. I highly recommend watching that first if you haven't already, as I won't be going over every area in this video, just ones that I'm going to try differently or new strategies that I've learned about. But I'll link those videos in the description below. Long story short, I succeeded in getting 1000 kills, but I was 32 kills short of getting 1100. The only rule I have for this is no exploiting infinite enemy spawns. The Baldy boys in the gallery respawn if you leave and re-enter without killing the red pajama guy. So for those, first time entry only, baby. I also can't allow myself to decimate the entire spider population during Salazar's boss fight, so I will restrict myself to the first two that spawn in that room. Exploiting these two areas would make this whole endeavor pointless. We are trying to take the next step in human history after all. I'll be playing on New Game Plus to make it so I have the most OP weapons at my disposal and professional difficulty. Professional mode bypasses the difficulty adjustment and guarantees as many enemies will spawn in as possible. It's entirely likely that me taking damage on normal difficulty actually despawned an enemy or two. I'll also be playing on the PS4 version. RE4 is notorious for having slight differences between the different versions, and enemy spawns are no exception. So don't take my strategy as gospel for all 8,000 versions of this game. And in case you're curious, I'll be using the Chicago typewriter and infinite launcher again, but I'll also make use of the striker for the Ditman glitch, the PRL for crowds, and occasionally the semi-auto rifle whenever I feel like exploding zombie heads with high-speed weaponry. Let's freaking go. My homeboys Ricardo and Julio let me ride presidential in the Swagmobile to the outskirts of a strange, stinky village where it's time to investigate. I approached the local wildlife and began my interrogation.
I was wondering if you might recognize a girl in this photograph?
¿Qué carajo estás haciendo aquí? ¡Lárgate, cabrón!
Sorry to have bothered you.
He, wasn't too happy about me sticking my fat American nose in his business. I tried to calm him down, but it was no use. I had no choice but to safely subdue him. Oh shit! His three homies come snooping around, so I bust a cap in each of their asses, and take a brisk morning jog into the town to see if any of the villagers there know where I can find the muscled man I'm looking for. Okay, buckle up you little shits, it's time for an experiment. I did extensive testing into the village fight to determine the number of enemies I could kill here, and here's what I've come up with. My initial understanding was that for this village fight, you either avoid death for 3 minutes, or kill 13 enemies, and then the fight is over. But throw that idea out the window! I ran this fight over 40 times in practice, and I was able to conclude you'll have to kill 13 to 18 enemies depending on how you start the encounter and which spawns you trigger during it. Entering the 2-story house that begins the chainsaw guy, Dr. Salvador cutscene, ups your kill requirement to 18. We'll circle back around to that. So, I didn't record sufficient footage on my PS4 during practice, and I don't really feel like going back to film it again, because basically the strategy I came up with was dick useless. So here's the cliff notes. Basically, I would kill the 11 starting villagers in a specific order, then kill a few of the new ones that spawn in. Then I would kill everyone still standing at the same time, and then immediately enter the house to start the Salvador cutscene. After that, I'd kill a few more, then group the remainder together and blow them all to pieces simultaneously. My theory was that this strategy would bag me 34 kills for this village encounter. Much more than 13, I can assure you. Sounds like a decent strategy, does it not? Wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
Despite being able to pull this off a couple of times, the game was just blue-balling me. My best was 28, which in case you're bad at math, is less than 34, so something was not working. As many gamers do, I went online to complain about my very specific and arbitrary problem, and someone on Reddit actually came in clutch. Shout out to G Haystacks on Reddit for educating me on this fight. First things first, I was informed that the kill counter for this specific fight doesn't start until enemies are alerted. So the 4 I was killing at the beginning with the PRL weren't counting towards the required amount to end this section. Essentially, I was counting the enemy deaths inaccurately. And I think the ones I was getting just before entering the house weren't counting at all. I don't know, it's all confusing, okay? But anyway, they also told me about the strategy known as Silent Village. Basically how it works is you use explosives to kill the villagers without alerting any of the others. The infinite launcher works best, but you have to hit enemies directly for it to work. So it was time to put this plan into action. After a bit of practice, here's the strategy that I came up with. Step 1, blow this guy's balls off. Step 2, eviscerate this lady. 3, ruin Wheelbarrow Man's day. 4, give roof guy number 1 fatal heartburn. Step 5, diagnose the other lady with explosive spine disease. 6, give Pedro a rocket-propelled prostate exam. Step 7, gut punch roofman number 2. 8, obliterate the good doctor and his 2 assistants. Step 9, now that the village is on high alert, let the last guy from behind the cow barn come to you and rupture his spleen. 10, rupture the spleens of the 3 villagers that appear by the entrance gate. 11, enter the 2-story house. After the cutscene, unalive 13 more innocent villagers. And the final step, commit the big die on the last 8 villagers at the same time. You'll get 10 kills before actually alerting anyone and starting the encounter, 4 more after it begins, 13 more after the cutscene, and then 8 more in the final blow. That equals 35 kills across the entire village fight.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Jesus, that was a lot. Are you still with me? Great. I promise the rest of the run isn't as confusing. If you're still lost though, I'll put up the entire detailed village fight on my second channel, Volantis Moon 2. Link in the description below. The rest of 1-1 is easy. 5 in the farm, 2 on the bridge, and 5 in the dynamite area. 55 kills at the end of this chapter, which is a massive improvement. One 2 resulted in the same amount of kills as the first run, 55. One 3 brings us another new strategy, one that I mentioned at the end of my initial run, the church bell. I was not aware of this the first time, but I'll be damned if I don't use it this time. I gave that bell a little tickle in its undercarriage, twice from behind the fence and twice from in front of it. These 4 spawns will net you 11 more kills. Then it's smooth sailing from here until you perform acupuncture on an overgrown magic harp. So here's the annoying thing. In practice, I got 67 kills for this chapter, but in recording, I got 65 4 times, and 66 only once. I have no idea what I did to get the 66, but I couldn't seem to do it again, let alone match the 67 kills I got in the first run, even when being as meticulous as possible. So I'll accept the 66 and just move on. All of chapter 1 ends with 177 kills, 27 more than last time. Fantastic start. 2-1 went the same as the first time. I took out the village and the farm ganados before returning to the church to rescue Ashley. Again, 45 kills. I haven't yet found the perfectly chiseled man I came here for, but coincidentally I found the president's daughter. So that's good, I guess. I did not realize last time that you can re-enter the church after getting Ashley. Oops. 2 crossbow zealots inside, then 7 villagers in the graveyard. Oh boy, here's the other fun part. Learning a strat for cabin was just as tedious as learning village. There's one major problem. Lewis. Lewis feels the need to be the hero of his story and will take matters into his own hands, slaughtering innocent villagers. This makes it very difficult to count how many enemies you're killing. I got 40 kills last time, which is the requirement to pass the cabin. So in theory, if you get to 39, then group 9 more together, 9 being the max the game can spawn at once, and kill them all together, you should get 48. Easier fucking said than done. Again, I didn't record much of my practice runs. But that's fine since all I had to show for my dozens of attempts was a half-baked, unreliable strategy. Basically, I'd block the 2 windows at either end, position Lewis between myself and the middle window, then shoot any villager that dared showed its oogly face in mine Lewis's love shack. The strategy was meh. It was almost inevitable that too many ganados would show up at once, causing me to divert my attention away from Lewis, where he'd steal a couple kills. I know his kills count towards my score, but it makes it very difficult to keep an accurate count. But nevertheless, anytime I counted to 39, I'd gather as many as possible into the room, then blast their crusty asses with my PRL. The best I could do was 47 kills, which I only got once with this strategy. But G Haystacks is here to save the day once again. They linked me a video of a trick where you can actually push Lewis up the stairs, so he'll stay the fuck out of my business. This took many tries. The biggest issue still was Lewis. He does not like getting pushed around. And if you don't get him up the stairs quickly, he'll start shooting villagers when they bust in. After ripping out a bunch of my hair in frustration, I got Lewis to mind his own fucking business and let me commit genocide. I carefully count my kills to 39, then let the villagers bitch slap me around a bit so the last 9 can be in quick death range, then blast them with the PRL. One Ganado did not get hit, so I quickly changed to the Chicago typewriter and popped a cap in his ass. And the game actually counted it. I have successfully got 48 cabin kills, resulting in 57 for the chapter, a feat I previously thought nearly impossible. Okay, quick disclaimer. You may have noticed that Leon's outfit changed here. That's because I accidentally loaded the wrong save file for this attempt. I had 2 files at the last save spot before the cabin, one for practice and one for recording, and I loaded the practice file. Oof. But the good news is, the practice file just so happens to be the one where I managed 67 kills in 1-3, meaning instead of the 278 total kills I would have ended up with, I now have 279, so I'm saying fuck it and continuing with this file instead. I had to do 2-3 a few times because I couldn't match the 62 kills I got on my first run, but after clearing out every enemy I could find and backtracking as far as humanly possible, blasting everything in existence with the PRL, I got 62 kills for some reason. I don't know why, but we end chapter 2 with 341 kills, 35 more than last time. (3-1), every speedrunner's favorite chapter. Maybe. I don't know. I don't speedrun anything. I don't have the patience for that shit. Anyway, right before we get to Waterhall, we can find extra enemies. After asserting my dominance on every bald-headed bitch guarding the entrance to the castle, we meet Grampy Salazar. After you exchange pleasantries, leave the room, and you'll find 5 more zealots outside. Demolishing every crusty punk in Waterhall is easier than breathing, but I found that there are plenty of extra enemies here as well. After you clear out the first wave, before activating the pressure plates, leave and re-enter the room. 2 more zealots spawn. Now after stepping on the plates and raising the crank, again clear out everyone and leave the room. When you enter again, 5 more zealots will show up. Supposedly raising Ashley to the right side first instead of the left will help spawn more zealots, but I didn't test that. I just took them out slowly in hopes that it meant more would spawn. But anyway, the extra spawns really helped. I scored 102 kills this time. With Ashley captured and hopefully dead, it's time to go from Secret Agent to Exterminator. Big Bug Boy Exterminator. The Novistadors are total pushovers when up against the weapons at my disposal. I didn't even break a sweat. But after turning the drainage valve, if you go back to the start of the area, there's a hole in the wall with another Novi hiding in it that I did not kill the first time. Slaughter it. After admiring some of Grampy's, tasteful artwork, he tells me I'm a disappointment of a grandson and orders his slaves to kill me. Again, these jabronis were no challenge. Well, the 2 sets of rocket twins were. It took a few tries to ensure I killed all 4 of them, but I always prevail in the face of a challenge. I quit. For the hedge maze, I explored every square inch to find and put down every diseased pupper that wants my sweetmeats. I swept the entire area before grabbing either door piece, then again after grabbing the first one, then again after grabbing the second one. Not sure if I found more than last time, but all of my thoroughness in this chapter actually led to 6 extra kills. This strange woman in a red dress tries to get a handful of my sweetmeats, but I have to forcibly explain to her that I'm off the market. My meat ain't for sale, lady. My meat yearns for a beefcake. Why do I write this shit? I made an interesting discovery in 3-3. While repeatedly trying to match my score from the first time, I eventually realized that some of the zealots can spawn spider plagas, and those plagas count as extra kills. So I had to retry and retry and retry until every zealot that could spawn a plaga would. The last 2 that enter the cage, this red one here, and the 2 that enter the switch room after you pull it, can all turn into those 8-legged freaks. But after doing that, not only did I match my score, I actually improved it to 27. Unfortunately, however, Ashley is still alive, so I blast holes in those undead perverts, then tediously do Ashley's part. Since my last run, it has been confirmed for me that Ashley cannot kill the knights, so I'm not even gonna bother. I'm doing so well by this point anyway that I doubt it'll even matter. Chapter 3 ends with 551 kills, an improvement of 55 points overall so far. I managed 4 more kills than last time in 4-1. I directly killed the first 2 fire statue zealots instead of breaking the chains.
Splish!
I doubt that made a difference, but I've noticed that sometimes this game is weird with counting kills. The third statue blocks your shot wherever you're standing, but I don't think the guy is actually there anyway. So I wait for the other ass clowns to finish dropping out of the tower, then send the last statue guy to hell. Despite the NoMBe showing up and relieving me of my migraine, I had my sworn duty to uphold, and I opted to kill them first before dropping the nest. There are also 2 NoMBes just chilling on the nest itself. One last notable difference in this chapter. After restarting the clock tower, if you go back out the door you entered from, another trio of crackheads will show up looking to score. I disposed of this street trash and scored 88 kills this time. "4-2 was the bitch of the run. I redid it probably just as many times as 3-3, but it's much longer and the checkpoints are ass. Long story short, I had to keep redoing the whole thing in hopes that every Ganado would spawn in the mine and every NoMBe would spawn in the cave. For some godforsaken reason, sometimes the NoMBes would just not show up after pressing the second switch, leaving me with a suboptimal score. But with enough patience, I matched the 56 kills I got in the first run. The only difference in the remainder of Chapter 4 in this run was that in the spike trap room of 4-3, I got 4 spiders to spawn in instead of 3. Wow! I've had enough of Grampy's bullshit, so I bust several dozen caps in his wrinkly ass. Again, I only killed the first 2 spiders that spawn on the ground floor. Chapter 4 done, 821 points so far. With the castle in our rear view, I'm feeling super confident that this will end in success. A common tactic I implemented throughout this entire run was intentionally getting noticed by enemies in hopes that it would spawn extras. I let the searchlight expose my location to the enemy so that when they throw every infected body at me and I mow them all down, there's no doubt in their parasite-ridden minds that I am in fact the Terminator. In the last room before finding Ashley on the security screen, some of the soldiers spawned spider plagas. Say that 5 times fast. I got 2 of them, but I didn't feel like retrying for more. Like I said, super confident. The blast door has 6 soldiers when you get there, plus 2 more when you go past it and re-enter the room. The PRL absolutely eviscerates the regenerators, not even a challenge. The rest of the enemies between here and rescuing Ashley are found along the way. No spawn behinds to go back for. 87 kills this time, an improvement of 6. I honestly expected to get an ass ton of more kills between the wrecking ball room and the truck. I did do better, but only 3 points better, Lamau. In the group of soldiers in that starting hallway, you can actually get 3 plaga spawns. It took lots of resets, but I did eventually get all 3. When arriving in the wrecking ball room, I chose to leave Ashley in that little entry tunnel thingy. This caused some soldiers to spawn behind her, which in retrospect I don't think actually mattered, but it seemed like more were spawning at the time, so I just left it. Anyway, I painstakingly put down 24 Ganados before operating the wrecking ball. I waited each time after operating the lever, but nothing spawned in until after breaking open the wall. 5 more appeared, and I sent them all to their inevitable deaths. The truck section is super duper simple. I just blasted every dirty bitch with my plaga laser. I counted 33 kills in the first half, 11 at the elevator stop, and 13 more in the second half, totaling 108 kills. I feign a bout of IBS so Ashley can get kidnapped again, and it's time for my least favorite chapter. The U3 part is terrifying, and Krauser is a tedious pain in my ass. I love that guy. But before we get to either of those, we need to clear out the boiler room. There are 7 guys upon entry, and 3 more that spawn when you go past the room and then re-enter. This warehouse is suspiciously quiet. It feels like a largely muscled man wants to teabag me! Finally, I found the hunk I've crossed the entire Atlantic Ocean to find. No, not that hunk, that hunk. This absolute unit of a beefcake. Krauser and I were having some much needed private time when the bitch in the red dress interrupted all the fun. My man gets embarrassed and takes off, which royally offended me, but because I don't hit women, I needed something else to take out my aggression. So I made my way to Mr. Tentacle's funhouse looking for my next victim. I used my sweetmeat to lure Squidward out of his hidey hole and blast a crater through his disgusting tentacled body. The PRL is a friggin' beast. Krauser is still really upset after the whole Ada thing and tries to blow my damn head off. I guess our love just isn't meant to be. Anyway, this whole section you fight Krauser in, there are a bunch of little spider robots and drones trying to turn you into Swiss cheesies. 13 of them, in fact, if you check every spot. I try to convince Krauser that we can work things out, but he remains unconvinced. So, sadly, I have to show him who the Alpha is. I'm sorry, Krauser. It didn't have to end this way.
Where'd it tick? That means I'm single again!
With these horrible memories now a thing of the past, we wrap up 5-3 with 33 kills, bringing the total to 1,049. "5-4 is the last gauntlet of the game. The military base, the triple turret room, then the war room. There's also a regenerator in there, but with the PRL by my side, I'd be more scared of a ladybug crossing my path. Eat a damn cough drop, you alien bitch! I approached each section of this chapter like this. Kill every Ganado in close proximity, wait until they've stopped showing their oogly faces, then move on to the next room. I honestly have no clue if this was the most efficient way to rack up kills, but I ended up with a lot regardless. I converted the military base into a ghost town, cleaved the regenerator in twixt, and then voided the war room of any sign of life. I ran into the homewrecker and played off my foiled murder attempt as just some random demonic possession. I rescue Ashley for what I hope is the final time. I was perfectly fine letting Sadler eat her or whatever he was gonna do, but you know, dat paycheck dough. We backtrack through the prison and... What? Ashley can jump down ledges. So not only is she completely inept and incapable of defending herself, she was just using me as a safety net so her lazy ass didn't have to climb down ladders. That bitch. Anyway, the furthest you can go with Ashley is the prison and there are no spawn behind enemies, so this chapter is done. Sadler's death doesn't count as a kill for whatever reason, but it's fine I guess. I reluctantly saved the woman who destroyed my relationship, and it's time to end this massive spider bitch.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, very powerful light.
I diagnose you with dead. I grab Dum Dum, do some sick jet ski flips in celebration, and escape the island just before it goes kablooey. I just saved her life, but already Ashley is bringing up traumatic memories and tempting me to toss her into the ocean.
So, who was that woman anyway?
The fuck you say to me, you little shit!
So, with the President's devil spawn now safely home, my lover dead by my own hands, and that homewrecker still out there somewhere, was the entire effort even worth it? Well, the amount of zeros on that paycheck would suggest yes, but we're here for the kills, not the money. I finished 5-3 with 1,049 kills, and if this run was anything like last time, then 5-4 would have more than enough enemies to bust through the 1,100 I was looking for. And sure enough, I got a whopping 102 kills, 12 more than last time. So I finished this run with a satisfying 1,151 kills.
Fuck yeah!
So that about wraps it up. This challenge was hella fun, and I found I needed to be a lot more meticulous than I was expecting. I knew the village and cabin fights would be difficult to develop strategies for, but there were more chapters than I anticipated that I had to redo several times. I'm sure I could probably squeeze out a couple more kills somewhere with enough luck. There were a few times when I felt the game was just being stingy and not giving me the score I thought I had deserved. So if you've gotten a better score on any chapters or know of some more tricks I still wasn't aware of, please let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to hit like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more challenge videos in the future. It costs you literally nothing. But for now, I wish you all the best and I'll see you in the next one.